Well, you have been a major hit on this, due in no small measure to the fact, Darragh, that you're prepared to take on any subject. And that's what we like to think we do, Alex, on this show. So here's another. Yesterday, the UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, warned of unbreathable air and unbearable temperatures to come, claiming the era of global warming has ended. The era of global boiling has arrived. So, I mean, does this affect sport? Eco-protesters target sport. Of course, that's why we've got to look at this. So what more could or should the game of football, for example, be doing to tackle the climate crisis? If you remember, 3 years ago, Tottenham hosted the first net zero emissions game. 5 years ago, Forest Green Rovers became the first carbon neutral football club. And the man in charge then is the man in charge now. Forest Green Rovers chairman Dale Vince joins us live. Dale, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Jim. I'm disappointed Simon's not here. He's not ducking me, is he?
He's not ducking you, but let me tell you, I think I can safely predict
the minerals on him.
We have a more than able substitute in terms of Mr. Darragh MacAnthony. Dale, Gutierrez, when Gutierrez spoke yesterday, I take it you listened, and you listened very closely.
Yeah, just one clarification first, Jim. The Tottenham game was the first net zero game in the Premier League, not the first one ever, because we've been doing that for 10 years or something like that. Just to clarify that.
Quite right. Quite right.
Thank you, Jim. What he said was scary, right? But, last week, Jim, a NASA scientist said something in the middle of all of the wildfires and stuff like that around the world, the crazy record temperatures. He said, if you're alive today, this is the coldest summer you'll ever experience for the rest of your life. And that was really quite scary, I thought. But yeah, global boiling, that's quite a scary term as well. But I don't think either of them are wide of the mark when you look at what's happening around the world.
So should football be doing more? You see, as you might imagine, Dale, I'm seeing messages coming in. Alex has probably seen them alongside me. What's this got to do with football? What can football do? Well, Dale, you would suggest that football can do plenty.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, first, I think it's not just football. I think we all need to do everything that we possibly can, because this is a threat, not just to ourselves and our children and our grandchildren, but so many generations to come. If we get this wrong, if the climate crisis takes a proper hold, then we won't be able to turn it back, and the planet will become unlivable in great chunks of the planet. There'll be very few places where we can survive as a species, and that's going to cause untold problems. We should all do what we can. Football, what can football do? It has a unique opportunity because football is a platform. Billions of people around the world follow football clubs, they follow football stars, and they take their cues in life from them. We've seen at Forest Green, the work we've done on the environment, on net zero and that kind of stuff, has reached a global audience, and we've teamed up with the UN to roll out a program for that, Sport for Climate Action, which is engaged now every major body of every sport in the world in the same program. Together, we can reach billions of people. We've seen the effect on our fans. We've seen them buying electric cars, going veggie, vegan, solar panels, that kind of stuff. Football fans embrace this stuff when you put it to them in the right way.
Okay, so in no small measure, Dale is addressing the problem at his football club. Darragh MacAnthony, are you doing the same at Peterborough?
No, don't think so. Look, I'm all for doing my bit to help or whatever else. It's probably something I would never agree with Dale on. I don't think this is the place for that debate. There'll be lots of things I'd want to say and lots of things he'd want to say, and you'll cut the break in like 3 or 4 minutes' time. But I would say this. What COVID has taught me is that those in charge, those who are in the media, are not always to be trusted. And you see some of the hysteria sometimes, and what was a different colour screen and the weather report 10 years ago to what it is today. I don't know. Dale, you've done all right for yourself through your life. You've made quite a few quid out of this whole climate thing. Who am I to criticise you? And you've obviously done your own work, your own research, so you're well versed in it all. It's not an argument I need to have. I have my opinion on it. That's where I am with it.
You sound like Simon Jordan now. You don't want to debate it with me.
Well, Dale, at the end of the day, talkSPORT will give me 3 or 4 minutes. I'm happy to sit there where you eat your veggie burger and we can have a proper debate. But like I said, you've made plenty of dough out of it. You're getting plenty of attention out of it. That's what you want to do. That's for you. You're donating to a load of idiots who run onto the streets or stop in traffic. There was a woman last week whose kid was ill, and all these people you'd given money to do that to were a cause of that. If a child died or someone had a heart attack in an ambulance because you'd put 500 grand into a cause where you have all of these morons who are stood in the street basically stopping traffic, you lose people's support for the cause. And eventually something's going to happen. Someone's going to die in a car in an ambulance, or one of your idiots is going to get run over and killed. And that's going to happen. And my question to you guys is, are you okay with that happening?
All right, let me tell you this. Well, let me ask you this. Do you know how many people died in Europe last summer because of the extreme temperatures that we experienced? Do you know how many?
You're going to tell me that lots of people have died from all sorts of fires.
60,000.
Horrific. I'll ask you again. If that child last week had died in the car, I'm asking you, Dale. You didn't put your money in.
I'm asking you. Well, I'm talking actual deaths. You're talking theory. I'm talking actual deaths.
Well, my answer to you would be, every life has a value, Dale. Every life has a value.
And 60,000 have passed, and this summer it will be more. And you're talking theoretical. What if? It's happening now.
So you're telling me that that's not going to happen? One of these idiots who are blocking a car in an ambulance isn't going to cause a death?
I'm telling you.
I'm glad you find it funny, but you're putting your money into it.
I'm laughing at you, man, the way you talk. I'm talking about actual deaths, and you're talking about possible deaths. What's the difference?
The way I talk. Look,
man.
First of all, with all due respect, there was no insult on my side, but you've come on and you've given it a big one. All right, you've got your thing. That's great. You've made a lot of money from it.
Count the names you call people morons.
Well, Darragh, you have just addressed supporters of causes like this as idiots.
Well, yeah,
So,
because
and
what I
morons,
saw
and
last
morons.
week, Jim, was in the middle of the street was somebody had a sick child. And I would imagine if that was me and my child was sick, I would do everything to get my child to the hospital. So I guess the question would be, would you do the same?
But I think the question that we're trying to
I'm not
ask
against-
you here
I'm not against
is that
Dale's quest.
Dale is hook, line and sinker into this, and
Sure.
so is his football club. But you are saying quite openly, Peterborough United, it's not for us.
I didn't say it's not for us. I just said we're not doing a lot about it at the moment.
Actually,
I'm glad
should
Dale
you be?
finds it funny, but it's,
I
I didn't say
think
it's
what
not
you
for
said.
us.
Should you be?
I think what you said is it's a conspiracy. You don't believe that it's happening.
Did I use the words conspiracy, Alex?
No, you intimated though. You said color charts from years ago is the weather really changing. You've made money from it. Is it really happening? Is what
This
you're
is
saying?
where you lose people.
What you're saying.
This is where you lose
Yeah.
people. You come up with conspiracy stuff. This is just like
I haven't.
COVID. You lose people
No.
quickly. I
There we go, COVID.
absolutely
You
am
mentioned
not a
COVID
climate
and the
denier.
climate crisis.
And you turn
They're not
around
the
and
same.
say conspiracy theory. That's your favourite
That's how
argument.
you're talking. No, it's how you're talking.
Did I use the word conspiracy theory?
I didn't hear the word
how you-
conspiracy
Okay.
theory.
So
No,
Dale,
no.
if you think I think it's a conspiracy theory, fair enough. That's your argument. You're entitled to your opinion. Fair
That's
play.
what you're saying.
No,
You
but you're
said, is
entitled
it
to that
real?
opinion.
Is it happening? You said, is it happening, right? That's conspiracy
Sorry,
theory.
what did I say?
It is
Conspiracy
happening.
theory. Is it
It
happening?
is happening.
I don't
You
think
said,
to
is
the
it happening?
extent
The climate
that's
crisis
been
is
reported.
happening is
What
what
were
you
the,
said.
Darragh, let me put
You
it
said
another
What were the
way.
people in
headlines
charge
today,
can't be
Jim?
trusted.
Do
The
you
people in charge can't be trusted, you said.
I don't believe everything from the people in charge, Dale, and anyone who does is
you
foolish.
don't
We
believe
saw
in
that
climate
during
crisis.
COVID. No,
The
I don't
inference
believe
of
it's a
that is you
climate
don't believe in
crisis.
the climate
I believe
crisis.
the
That's what
climate's
you're
something we
saying.
need to fix. But do I believe it's a crisis right now today? No, I'm not sure I'm there yet.
Really, 60,000 deaths in Europe last summer. More this summer coming. More than 60, I mean.
Should football not see it as something of a priority, though, Darragh? Because Dale is proud of the fact that Forest Green Rovers became the first carbon-neutral football club. And I would think, Dale, it's your sincere hope that others follow. But Peterborough United might not be on that list anytime soon,
Not at the
Darragh.
moment, it's not. But at the same time, I'd say this, Jim. You know, I'm not a fool. I'm not digging my head in the sand. I understand we have to look after the planet. Dale's right in talking about future generations, our children, our grandchildren.
There's better ways to get the message across.
But that's kind of where I'm getting to. The message sometimes gets diluted and it gets people angry. And I understand why they want to do it because they want to bring awareness to the whole thing. And nobody wants to get into a row where you're calling each other's names. And you talk about misinformation. I've watched the news the last 4 or 5 years. Things sometimes get too hyped up. And that's where we have to bring things down to a common sense level. If we can do that and have a proper conversation, I think more people will listen. And some of the messaging right now, all it does is irritate people.
Would
And
you
I
concede?
think,
Would you
you know,
concede that, Dale? That some of the messaging, getting in the faces of people trying to get to work, is maybe not the best way to go about it. The way you're going about it at your own football club probably is a better way.
Yeah, do you know what, Jim? I think this discussion has slipped into that old territory about whether or not what Just Stop Oil are doing is working or not. When actually I thought I came on here to talk about what football can do, what football clubs can do about the climate crisis, which is an established fact, actually. And I don't think anybody's exaggerating it. I think you can disagree with the tactics of Just Stop Oil, which we just heard about. But you can't disagree with the fact of the climate crisis, and we need to do something about it.
Well, I know that Alex is going to jump in a second, but what more, Dale, do you hope football can do?
Well, I'd like to see football clubs embrace their responsibility in the climate crisis, because we all have a carbon footprint, but also take up the opportunity that football clubs have, this incredible platform that we have to influence our fans and use it to show them what's happening in the world and what it is that they can do about it. Because a lot of simple stuff that fans can do to help reduce our impact on the environment and the climate crisis.
Darragh, you started this conversation by a little tongue-in-cheek jibe at Simon Jordan, accusing him of ducking it.
He's my friend, go on.
But on the subject of ducking it, we did try and approach you at this radio station when it became clear that Hannah Dingley wasn't to be kept on in her role as interim manager. A lot of people saw that as a bit of a PR stunt, because it was an unusual step for you to take to actually formally unveil an interim manager standing next to you with the shirt. What would you say to people who see that as nothing but a cheap PR stunt?
I would say that's insulting to Hannah, to the football club, and all women in football, right? Because she was the best qualified coach in our club to take the interim role, and we gave it to her.
But did you need to do all the publicity? As I say, it's very unusual when someone steps up for a short-term appointment to have a press conference, to be pictured next to the chairman of the football club. You knew exactly what was going to happen, didn't you?
No, I didn't know what was going to happen. And let me. Well, you can say I'm not telling you the truth. That's up to you. But listen, let me finish. Thank you. We had no idea it would blow up like it did. We had no choice about the press conference or the press attention and all of that stuff. We had a pre-season friendly the same day that we made the appointment. I turned up there and there were 20, 30 different media outlets there. We crammed them all in a room to get it all out of the way at the same time. And we held this most bizarre press conference. I felt like I was in an episode of Ted Lasso, but we didn't expect that. But we just dealt with it and then we tried to move on.
Dale, I know you've been lobbying football clubs for quite a number of years now to do their part in terms of tackling climate crisis, in terms of addressing the very subjects that Gutierrez, the UN General Secretary, was talking about yesterday. How much progress has been made? Or do you feel that at Forest Green Rovers, you're still very much a lone voice?
I don't think we're a lone voice. If you look around the world of football, there's stuff happening. You know, Barcelona are talking about turning their grass into diamonds, I think, which is really interesting. We make diamonds from atmospheric carbon, of course, is one of the things we do. You know, all around the world, there are clubs picking this up as an issue. I mean, they understand their fans increasingly want to see them do something about it, you know, as customers of all businesses do, you know, out there in the world of non-sport. So I see it happening, particularly if you look at what the UN are doing with Sport for Climate Action. I mean, it's a massive movement now to engage the world of sport in this issue. I think the government passed up a really big opportunity with the appointment of the independent football regulator. We asked them to make sustainability part of the brief of that regulator, and they flat out refused.
So it begs the question here, Darragh, when you listen to Dale, would you be prepared at any time soon, would you see it on your list of priorities to sit down with Dale Vince and share views on this very subject?
I have no problem having a healthy debate, a discussion. I have no problem someone trying to educate me on their opinion of different world events. Look, the way I look at it is this way. If it's good for the world, it's good for all of us, and it keeps us living longer, fantastic. The other way I look at it is when I see countries like China and India and the populations and the emissions and everything else, if they're not on board with a lot of what everyone else in the world's trying to do, I think we've got a problem long term. I don't know if Dale agrees, disagrees. That's another discussion for another time.
No, I do agree, actually. But if you look at China, it's a bit of a myth. It's often used as an excuse for us not doing anything. If you look at China, they've just achieved 50% electricity, green electricity on the grid, which is ahead of us, right? 98% of all the buses on the road in China are already electric, and they have installed more solar panels than the rest of the world put together. And 80% of the panels that we install outside of China were made in China. If you look at what they're doing on the climate crisis, they're actually a world leader.
Dale, thank you so much for joining. Are you ready for the new season?
Yeah, I am actually. Starts next week, doesn't it?
It does indeed. Listen, you might get more of a comfortable ride when Simon's on next time you join us. You never know. You never know. Dale Vince, Forest Green, thank you so much for joining us.
All the best.
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.